What's up, everybody? It's G Mr. Drew. Here to welcome you to another episode of the Andrew Glowczewski Experience. This is going to be episode 122. Going to continue this character art that I'm working on here. It's this character I've been doing some small 1.5x3s, some 3x3s, and then because I'm, pretty much done with this character. He's pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy about him. I like to dedicate a page per character or per subject matter. So, just to fill up this page with the quickness, I decided, all right, I'll just do one big image and, hopefully it's a fun one and things like that. Um, so I watched at the end of my last stream, I was talking, I talking about what was it, Attack on Titan, and before that, it was the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale. And after, so go back to those episodes to watch those. It was the last two, so it would have been 121A and 121B. That one accidentally got split into two videos. But I'd finished those saying like, oh yeah, Mortal Kombat came out, so I kind of wanted to go back and watch Mortal Kombat, and then I'd say I'd be back, to talk about it with the review whatnots. So, uh, so with that said, I watched Mortal Kombat Friday night, the day that it came out, and then it was already late by the time the movie finished. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go back and stream. And then Saturday, it was my little nephew's second birthday, so I had went out and celebrated his birthday. I don't get too many personal days while I'm trying to do this independent art thing. So yeah, it was super cool to have a couple of artists or have a day to do something else, and it is what it is. Like, so I missed yesterday. By the time I got back home, it was already late again. And then I also, because I had watched Mortal Kombat, and it was a party, so there was like people there and stuff, and other people had watched it, and we'd all seen it and things like that. I actually got to hear other people's opinion and perspective on the Mortal Kombat movie, because it had just come out, so some people had seen it, some people hadn't, and for my opinion of the movie, straight up, I love it. I love it. I don't. Is it perfect? No, but I love it. Like I don't like it. I love it. It's Mortal Kombat. I had the VHS to the original Mortal Kombat movies, the Mortal Kombat and then Annihilation after that. I had those VHSs back when I was a kid in the 90s. And I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't watch those things like religiously. So yeah, I'm like super into those movies. I think I've talked about it on a stream in the past, back when this latest Mortal Kombat movie was being the trailer released, and I was like all hyped about the trailer and things like that. Where I talked about having watched those movies and how some things in there are just unforgettable. How the Johnny Cage Scorpion fight scene in the old movie is one of the best video game movie fights you're ever gonna get. Um, I even remember, like, I'll never forget. I even as a kid I always mentioned, like, why does Sub-Zero stand like that when he goes to fight Liu Kang? Like when they face off with each other, and like Sub-Zero has this weird like crab stance where where his legs are like way wide apart, like he's doing iron stance, but he's like sideways, and Liu Kang's just like stiff, standing straight upwards. It was the weirdest like face-off looking thing, but it also is like it's badass. So I remember I'm watching those, and you know that's where I stand with Mortal Kombat and things like that. So yeah, when this movie was announced and it was like, hey, it's coming out, like I'm hyped for it. And like I said, I watched it Friday night. I loved it. I went to that party. I went to my nephew's birthday party yesterday. I talked to somebody about it, and it was somebody who's just like a regular guy who's just like watching movies and things like that. He didn't have any particular insight or anything like that, but we just were like, yeah, the movie was good. We liked it. And then um, my brother hadn't seen it, so it wasn't until after the party ended that he turned the movie on, and I was like, yo, enjoy it, man. This shit's good. And I hope I wasn't like overselling it, you know. But I don't think I oversold it or anything like that. So either way, I was just like, enjoy it, man. It's a good one. And then he ends up texting me like after he gets done watching the movie later on, however many hours later, like 2 hours later, he texts me. He's like, it sucked. It was terrible. Blah 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 blah. Like the opposite reaction that I had, and I was just like, oof, because obviously everybody is gonna have their own opinion of things, so it happens. And so I wanted to take a step back and kind of really think about it. Like, was it really that bad? You know what I mean? Because I'm like all Mr. Positive and stuff. I'm just like I'm just happy to have it and things like that. And you know, it was a good effort. Like I enjoyed the movie. It was Mortal Kombat. Like I watched it and I remember the old movies, and regardless, I'm just like, yeah, this is a Mortal Kombat movie. Um, so I don't know what other people expect to see from Mortal Kombat movie other than like, hey, let's get some Mortal Kombat stuff in there. Um, it may be a testament to like what Disney's been able to do, even though people have their own gripes with Disney and what they've done with like Star Wars and things like that, with like quality and things like that, like, oh, it's good, it's bad, whatever, whatever, whatever. Maybe it's a testament to them for them to be able to actually make things that are good, like WandaVision and everything else that they've done. Um, so I don't know if maybe people's taste has changed or something, like as far as like media and entertainment and things like that go. Like if people are just like, oh, but either way. Um, so I sat back and thought about it, and then I'm always talking about Max Dude on my channel here, and I know he's a big MK fan and things like that, and I was like, you know what, let me see what he has to say about it. I think he played like the RE8 demo, the second demo that they did, or technically the third, where you get to play in the castle and things like that. And he did a review of it. So he played in the castle, and then after the castle, he did the review. And he talked about it, and I was sitting there listening, and I was just like, okay, let's see what he has to say, because I like it, other people liked it, and then other people like disliked it. And I was just like, okay, let me hear what this guy has to say, because I know he's gonna know what he's talking about when he's talking about it. And he overall, I mean, after he broke it down and talked about what he wanted to talk about, and I'll probably discuss a little bit of it here, Um, he gave it like a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. And that's what I would give it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sitting here saying like 9 out of 10 or a 10, a fucking 10. Like anybody who's knows that reference. Um, shout out to y'all. But like I think if you're getting above a 5 out of 10, you did good. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying that the Mortal Kombat movie is, this latest one. I'm like, it's good. I loved it. Maybe the word love is a bit strong. Is like, how could you love something and give it a 5 out of 10? But it's like, yeah, that's just, it is what it is. Um, so yeah, this will be like spoilery. So if you don't want to be spoiled, like, you know, you can, I guess, tune out or something if you want. Who cares? But I'm gonna be talking about it, and I'm pretty loose with like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just talking about it so I could talk about it, really. So if you want to hear it, cool. If not, you know, I don't know what to tell you. So I do. Man, I wonder where should I start? Where should I start with the movie? Well, one, let's just start with me and where I stand with Mortal Kombat. I am not the biggest Mortal Kombat person. I loved the movies back in the 90s. I had Mortal Kombat 3 on the Super Nintendo, and my brother and I played the shit out of Mortal Kombat 3. Just like we did Street Fighter or anything like that. Uh, and that's as far as I ever went with Mortal Kombat. I was always aware of it. Like, I kind of, anytime the name came up, I was like, oh shit, Mortal Kombat. But I never played 4. I couldn't even tell you anything about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, I know that they started, like, branching off and doing some weird shit where it was like, it wasn't even a fighting game no more. You were like Liu Kang running around like it was Zelda or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? The last thing that I did was I played Mortal Kombat 3, and this is before Mortal Kombat Trilogy came out. Now, Mortal Kombat Trilogy came out, and I remember watching somebody play that and me thinking, wait, what the hell? This looks like Mortal Kombat 3, but there's like more going on. Like you have like more characters and things like that. But I never maybe I played it, but like I never really played Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and let alone 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it wasn't until uh what was it? DC versus MK, or MK versus DC, whatever you want to call it. When they got the DC superheroes involved, me being a Capcom versus Marvel fan, Marvel versus Capcom fan, having, everybody always talked about a like DC character fighter, and Street Fighter being one of the top fighting games ever, and then Mortal Kombat being another top one, and then Marvel being a top comic book, DC being a top comic thing. Like, it wasn't hard for people to have that conversation of like, oh, to have DC versus Mortal Kombat. But where that conversation always led to was it's impossible because one, Superman wins, and two, uh, um, Mortal Kombat's too bloody of a game to have like the family friendly, hey, we're a comic book, we make things for children. This goes as far back as before comic book nerds grew up into adults and things like that. Like, you had some, but not everybody. like mostly adults abandoned comics for the most part. The only ones who didn't were ones who started working within the industry. But nowadays, there's so much to it that you just have your everyday people who are into comics and they're adults and they still read them and da 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 da. And now it's become what it is today. So yeah, eventually it that sort of situation allowed for a Mortal Kombat versus DC. And then that's when Mortal Kombat got back onto my radar. Now, I probably was just done playing video games like with my life. If not, it was like right up there at that point. You know what I mean? Like I stopped playing video games at the PlayStation 3 era before the PlayStation 4 was announced. The last games I played were like Metal Gear 4 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3, things like that. Like, you know, that's just where my whole gaming life kind of stopped. Now I keep up with games just like through watching walkthroughs, playthroughs, news, um, things like that. So, and I'm just giving you my background as far as Mortal Kombat goes, because I've stayed out of it, and I'm gonna like talk about why that's relevant to what I'm gonna say about the movie and why I loved it. Because my love could be somewhat formed out of ignorance. I don't know. Um, all right, so that's kind of where I stand with Mortal Kombat. They didn't get my attention until or what was it called? Was it even called MK versus DC, or was it called like Injustice? Or no, Injustice was the DC fighter that I guess maybe NetherRealm Studios created. Um, but it had nothing to do with Mortal Kombat. It was strictly a DC fighter at that point. Like maybe that's what it was, but okay, so yeah, it was MK versus DC, and then I think Mortal Kombat 10 came out after that, and I remember watching trailers for that and being like, oh shit, like I remember watching a friend play, and I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was 9 or something, but it was like a one-off of me watching him play, where I saw like Scorpion and Sub-Zero had weapons now. Like they had started fighting with swords, and like all the game players had like weapons. Mortal Kombat 3, Shao Kahn was the only one with a warhammer. You had Stryker who had like guns and grenades and the baton and stuff. Um, but really everybody was like, you know, like Street Fighter. They either had like like powers or something like that for projectiles. But yeah, I remember seeing like a Mortal Kombat game where they had weapons, and I was just like, oh man, what does Mortal Kombat become? Because it was like, I know that there was like Samurai Showdown and other fighter games that had like weapons and things like that. But either way, like all I'm saying is that I saw it evolve to what it had become, and me being an old school fan, I just didn't feel any which way about it. I was just like, that's odd. Like I don't see the Mortal Kombat characters as ones who fight with weapons, but it kind of makes sense. Like my idea with weapons in fighting is always like, yeah, if you're fighting with a sword, how come you're not just immediately chopping people in half? Like how could you get slashed with a sword 20 times? But this is also coming from the guy who plays like Devil May Cry and shit. So so it's like, you know, why can I believe it for here but not for there? Like it just didn't make sense. So, I had to learn to accept that that's where it was and that's where it's going and things like that. I don't think like there's ever been a game where like Ryu picked up picked up weapon fighting and things like that. So, maybe because I was reading Udon comics, Street Fighter comics, maybe that's why. Um, you know, and me keeping up with things that in that department over there, uh, just made me a little more adverse to Mortal Kombat weapon fighting. Either way, I just thought it was weird. It was a cool mechanic though, of like, yeah, they can fight with just their hands, or they can fight with weapons. They could switch back and forth. Da 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 da's. It just adds like another style of gameplay, more combos or something maybe. And I was just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like for a game, I get it. It just seems like very convoluted and very busy. You know what I mean? Like gaming had already switched from the 2D platform to the 3D, and then now you're adding all these extra dimensions and things like that. And I was just like, man, you can't even enjoy games anymore. You know what I mean? Like they're becoming work and not so much play. And anyways, this is where I stand with Mortal Kombat because again, I watched the movies in the 90s. I loved them. I played Mortal Kombat 3. I loved it. Like Mortal Kombat 3 or maybe just Mortal Kombat trilogy just cuz you got the more characters. I'd say to me that's like pinnacle um Mortal Kombat stuff. As far as like my taste and my preference and things like that. Like I like all that weird Liu Kang running around from town to town, like he's in Zelda or something. Like that is no thank you. And then what else was it? Uh I didn't even know about the Sub-Zero game, but then there was like Scorpion's Revenge or something like that. Like, I just have no idea. They're like Mortal Kombat had just branched off and became something that I didn't know. Either way, let's fast forward to this year and we get the Mortal Kombat trailer. I'm super hyped for it. Part of it is because of the casting for Scorpion. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy who they cast for Scorpion, I love that guy. He's the Japanese guy that you want to get to do stuff. He played the badass guy in The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise and what's his name, Watanabe, I believe, might have been the main samurai leader's name. He had his right hand man who is the guy who played Scorpion, who is the guy who like whooped up um, Tom Cruise's ass when they was like doing training. Are we not focused? Oh my god. I'm sorry. I thought we were focused, y'all. So so I was hyped for that and it just looked good. I remember there was like some attempts to make make a Mortal Kombat show and I never saw it. And it was like a few years ago where you had like Reptile was a like a serial killer and he had like people's frozen heads and he was like a cannibal or something and he had like frozen heads in the fridge and whatever that was called, like I missed that one. That one, like I looked for it, I tried to watch it, but I just couldn't find it. I never got the opportunity. I missed it. And I think about it to this day where it's like, man, I still like to see that one day. Um, who knows, maybe I wouldn't, but I remember seeing that and it was like, oh man, Mortal Kombat being treated a little more realistically than the old 90s movies might actually be cool. So I just thought maybe it'd be cool. But never seen it, so I can't speak on that one. But, I have like Mortal Kombat in my heart of like, yeah, I'd love to see it. And now here we have this new movie coming out, and they got good casting. Cole Young or whatever his name is. That was a little weird, but it's like okay, I remember saying it in the old review or the old stream that I did of like, you know, Mortal Kombat introduces new characters in every game, so maybe this is just an opportunity for them to introduce a new character for, through a movie, but the next game that they make, he'll be there. His character, whoever he is, because we didn't know who he was through the trailers. We know who he is now. Um, and yeah, so let's just get into it. I I'm super hyped for the movie, and I put it on, and I'm like a kid again. I sit back and I relax and I watch it after the last stream that we did, and we open with the opening scene that we all saw on YouTube. YouTube had like the opening 7 minutes of Mortal Kombat, and we get to see the Scorpion backstory and Sub-Zero and things like that, which is dope. It's like, give me that shit all day. There we go. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out this pattern and how do I want to attack it. And then when I go to watch the movie, and I watched the preview on YouTube, got me even more hype. You know what I mean? It was just like the trailer, but more, and it didn't disappoint. So I'm watching the movie now, and we open with that scene, and it's pretty much identical. I don't think if they did add anything, it wasn't much since then. And I love it because me being an old school fan from the 90s, like the ninjas were the best part. You only played Liu Kang so you could do the fire or the bicycle kick, and you could hear him go, whoa, like, you know what I mean? Like, Liu Kang was fun for that. Uh, but yeah, nobody, at least nobody I know of, like really ever played for anything other than like, give me the ninjas. I want to see the ninjas fight. I want to see them throw fireballs. I want to see them throw ice balls. You know, like the ninjas were the stars. And if you're ever gonna do a Mortal Kombat movie, it's like, damn, what are you gonna do with the ninjas? And the first movie turned them both into bad guys, where you had Liu Kang versus Sub-Zero, and then you had Johnny Cage versus Scorpion. Dope fight scenes. And now this time, they're giving us, Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, and I know, like, since then, over the years in the video games, like, they've created some sort of rift between the characters of, like, they hate each other or something like that. They're from, like, rival clans or something like that. So to see that this is what they're doing with the storytelling is, like, they're going to be peeling off of that, that's, like, cool. Like for sure, give because at least that means we're gonna be getting some ninja fights and stuff like that. You can see it in the trailers. And how interesting that they had Sub-Zero be from like a Chinese clan, and then Scorpion be from a Japanese clan. Like, I know China and Japan have had like their wars in the past, and Japan has invaded China, and China's been invaded by Japan, and they're over the years there've been warring factions, going back and forth with each other. So it was like it kind of made sense, right? Like it was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. Um, because then even stylistically, it was just like, okay, what a cool way, because in the games, they were just like palette swaps of each other, where now it's like culturally and fashion design wise, or the clothing that they were going to wear, now it has like a background and a proof, for them to 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 work with or whatever. So it's like, okay. And open up with them. You can watch it on YouTube, and it's cool. Either way, I'm down with that. I'm here for that. Like, cool. I'm in. Like, you got Japanese here, you got Chinese there, you got fighting. One's cold, and the other one not hot. So I don't know if like Scorpion. I'm guessing Scorpion didn't have any powers when he was like a human. They don't really go into the backstory there. And it's kind of like I wish they did, but not while I'm watching it initially. Now I'm just speaking from. I just got done watching it again after I listened to Max's review and listened to my brother shit on it and things like that. Now, I went back and I watched it a second time, and I have it playing in the background for a third time, but I'm not watching it now. Like, I'm just, obviously, I'm down here drawing. And, yeah, so it was interesting. We get the fight. Uh, what happens happens, and then the movie starts. After that, like it's like cut to the title, and um, now we meet Cole Young, who we know at this point is like the main character. It's like, okay, what's gonna happen here? And he's just a guy who gets his ass handed to him. And the movie turns into the movie where it's like I came in not expecting like Lord of the Rings quality movie. Like I didn't come in here expecting anything. I'm just in it for like fun. Like give me fun. Give me a fun story that I could just sit back and veg out to. And I believe they did that. The fact that Cole is a father wasn't really clear from the beginning. Uh, you know, that his daughter was his daughter. I thought maybe it was his sister. Maybe they were in a relationship. I don't know. But then, like, after, like, the opening scene with Cole, or after we get introduced to him and he gets his ass whooped because he's a loser, and then, we meet Jax and whatever. And then we find out, like, oh, that's Cole and his wife and the daughter, even though the daughter looks like she's as old as the wife is like, is that his daughter? Is it his sister? Like, you're just sitting here wondering what's going on. It's already throwing you off because it's like Cole looks mad young. He looks too young to be having like an old kid. Like if you had like a little kid who was like knee high, I'd be like, okay, that's clearly his kid or little sibling or something like that. But spend way too much time trying to figure out who the hell Cole is and who the hell are all these people that he's like surrounded by. And it's not until like by the time the movie pops off, because we meet Jackson briefly, and then they go off and they have dinner, and then Sub-Zero attacks. Sub-Zero goes to meet Shao Kahn in the Outworld, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess Sub-Zero's just been in the Nether Realm or whatever it's called, in Outworld or whatever for like a millennia, because it would have been he would have been he's the same Sub-Zero he was when he fought Scorpion before back in the samurai days. And they don't really explain anything about like how he's lived for so long or anything like that. It's just like, okay, like this is the same Sub-Zero. and he goes and here's the weird plot that people have a gripe with, and I'm not even mad at it. But it doesn't really make too much sense to me, unless you just want to say like, oh no, bad guys is bad guys, and bad guys are gonna do bad guy shit. Where it was like, hey, we're the nether realm, or we're the outworld, or whatever they're called. Let me get some water. And he's like, hey, we've won 9 tournaments. Hooray us. Now we have the 10th tournament. If I win 10, my trophy is planet Earth. I've already won 9. I'm going to win 10. Because, of course I am. It's like, we're the Yankees. We're the Red Wings in the 90s. Like, we're the Patriots. Like we win. That's what we do. So I don't understand why winners are like, all right, let's cheat and let's stop the tournament from happening. Let's stop the thing that we've been winning and we've won. Let's stop that from happening. Because I don't know. But that didn't take me out of the movie. I was just like, okay, whatever. Like we need to get people fighting. Let's get to the fights. Like, this is gonna lead to fights? Yeah? Alright, cool. So anyways, Shang Tsung goes as Sub-Zero, and he's like, "Yo, go get him! Like we gon' get him." And Jax talks to Cole about the marking. We see the marking in the trailers of like, oh, you get the dragon the dragon stamp or the dragon brand, and it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, I like that. And Jax is telling him, but it wasn't clear to me yet. And I think on my second watch through, I saw it. Like, I was like, oh, I was supposed to already know this on my first watch through, where like like I thought it would just appear on people, but apparently it was like Cole was the only one who got it from birth, and I thought that was everybody. I thought Jax got it at birth, Cole got it at birth, everybody would have got it at birth. But no, it's Cole's the only one who got it from birth because he was a direct lineage of Scorpion, and Jax got it because he killed somebody who had it. And it was like, I didn't get that the first time around when I first watched it. I just thought, like, yeah, they all got it. And it wasn't until, like, later on in the movie where I was like, oh, so you can kill people and also get it, too. Like, it happened with Kano and Sonya and things like that. And I didn't, it didn't register with me. So I don't know how much that really matters. But either way, again, not in it for the story. I'm still in it. I'm still in it to win it. I'm still hype because we just got, Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. That was badass. And, we're meeting the main character who we're going to follow through. I'm not really understanding his family life, but whatever. I know I don't care about it because I'm not watching a family movie. I'm watching Mortal Kombat, so who cares what his family... Like, I'm still in it. And I'm still watching it, and they're talking, Jax is talking about, like, whatever with the stamp, the dragon stamp. And it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like I don't need the details, but yeah, I didn't understand it the first time through because I didn't know that at that point. I think it was supposed to already be clear that Cole was descendant of Scorpion, but he's just having like Scorpion nightmares, and it was like maybe Scorpion's giving everyone nightmares. I don't know. Don't know, don't care. Just I want to see some fights. Then we go to the dope shit where after Shang Tsung tells Sub-Zero like, "Hey, we gonna cheat." I don't know why, but we gonna cheat. We didn't need to cheat in the past. Like maybe they did, but like I don't know. Like it never came up like it was cheating. It kind of sounded like they won almost fair and square. Whether they won with cheating, but they still won during tournament times, I guess is all I'm saying. Like, we got all our wins during the tournament. Maybe for this 10th one, we also just still win for the tournament. Unless there was like the prophecy or something of like the 10th, specifically the 10th tournament, you're going to lose that shit. You know what I mean? And not, it's like, what a dumb fucking prophecy is that? It's like, how coincidental that you need 10 to win Earth, but also it's the 10th prophecy for a millennia of like, you ain't gonna win though. Like, maybe that's what drove them to cheat, but again, not clear either way. He sends Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero goes on the attack to go kill Cole. And this is where things get interesting, because now we're back to the now we're back to like what we saw in the trailer with like Sub-Zero attacking in whatever, like Chicago, I guess they're in, and it leads to the Jax Sub-Zero fight that we see in the trailer. And if you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. Now, it was weird because in the trailer, the way that it was kind of explained was like Sonya was doing her voiceover of the scene of like, we did a thing, we did a job over in Brazil, and we got attacked by somebody with superhuman abilities. And as she's explaining that, there's like the Sub-Zero ripping off Jax's arm thing happening, where there's like, so that led me to believe, I don't know about anybody else, but it led me to believe that that was going to be a flashback of like back in the day. But clearly that's not the case now that I'm watching the movie. Of like, I thought we were going to see like a mission of like Jax and Sonya and maybe some other people for whatever reason, because they're American, but going into Brazil territory to go take out like some wanted fugitive or something maybe, and then when they go there they discover that it's like Sub-Zero, and he goes and does his the shit that he did in the trailer. And no, that's not how it goes down at all. It's like, no, we're forget about the mission in Brazil, forget about whoever the person is with the special powers. It doesn't matter. Like, Sub-Zero's here and now. He's here to kill Cole, I guess. Or maybe it's like all the fighters. I don't know. And Jax is like, I'm going to take this guy on my own. Cole, you get out of here. And then we get the Jax Sub-Zero fight scene where, they're fighting in like a frozen warehouse. And Sub-Zero wins because he blows his arms off. That's not a spoiler. Watch the trailer. And it's badass. I love it. Like, I saw it in the trailer, but I love it. Like, that's what I'm here for. That's what I signed up to see. And even though I saw it in the trailer, like, I'm digging seeing it again, with a few extra shots and things like that. And now, but now the story is already like starting to get less of what it was. And I was like, okay, I need to prepare myself for something even more simpler than I was. Like, I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to like watching a movie and enjoying it and stuff. I was like, okay, so I got to really dumb myself down to take this, because I thought it was going to be more. I was, whatever. Oh, shit. I haven't been taking any pictures at all. And what, I've been recording for nearly an hour now? Shit. My bad. I got so much rendered. So, Jax gets his ass handed to him. Cole goes to find Sonya. Jax told him where to find her, and he finds Sonya's place. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Even though it's like, how? But also, I'm not expecting like the greatest, whatever. It's like, all right, he goes to find her, he finds her. Now we get to Sonya. And Sonya kind of gives the background of like, hey, we did research and we found out all this stuff. And it's really weird because it's like, I guess it was because of the mark. Again, the mark situation wasn't clear to me on the first watch through. I didn't realize it until this morning after the second watch through. I was like, oh, I was already supposed to know that because she just mentioned that there. But it wasn't clear to me on the first watch through of like, they've been doing research because Jax killed somebody and then got the mark grafted onto him like through magic. So that's why they'd been researching what that mark means. And I was like, okay, cool. But also it's like, are you military? Are you not military? Like you're special forces, but like clearly the American government didn't give you this. So are you ex special forces? If you are, like how are you like I always wonder how people live in real life and even in these fake even in fake life, even in movies. I'm like how does this character survive? If I'm watching a TV show, how do these people survive? How do they have the roof over their head? How are they eating? How is all this happening? You know what I mean? Batman, it's always easy because he's a billionaire. It's like you never have to worry about him. Anyone who's not a billionaire, all of a sudden it's like how and why and what. But again, try not to get too invested in a movie or too invested in all the details or whatever. It's just like, okay, I guess Sonya and Jax just kind of do stuff. Like I remember in the old movie, they were still active. They actively pursued Kano as special forces. You know what I mean? As they went to the Mortal Kombat tournament. Maybe I'm just like explaining the movie, not really breaking anything down. I don't know. Like I had ideas. Like when I first watched it, I was just gonna talk about how much I loved it. Like it was dope. But the fight scenes are dope. You know what I mean? And I guess this leads to the other one um, where now we're at Sonya's place and we get introduced to Kano, who's by far one of the best characters. And the way that Max described it was the reason why he was one of the best. I didn't think he was one of the best. I enjoyed him. Like I enjoyed him as as a character, but I enjoyed everybody. I'm like Sonya's hot. That's what I want from my Sonya. Like she's gonna fight, and she did fight. She kind of whooped up Cole for a second and proved like, oh, okay, so she's special forces. She has training. Like she is who Sonya is. But then after that, it's like, yeah, she's hot. Like I could watch her. Like I'm shallow like that. And Kano, it's like he's the bad guy. I know he's the bad guy. I think I even said it when the trailer had came out where it was clear that Kano was traveling with them, and I said Kano's gonna that's gonna be the part where he's the bad guy is when he betrays them because they're gonna trust him for some reason, maybe because he hasn't shown himself to be a bad guy yet, but he's in there. He's gonna be the one to betray him, and of course he does eventually. But we get introduced to Kano, and he's just a breath of fresh air because Cole is just like an idiot who gets his ass whooped every 2 seconds. but he's also, playing for the audience of like to explain this whole Mortal Kombat world. And at this point, I'm not impressed with his character, Cole's character, and I'm just like, okay, I I hope he's here so he could die. I think I talked about that too when the trailer released on the pod, where I was just like, maybe they're introducing Cole so they have a main character that we care about, and then they kill off without killing off any of the main cast of the Mortal Kombat video games. You know what I mean? So it's like, maybe he's there for that. It became clear like he's not there for that. He's just whatever. But I'm enjoying it because it's like Sonya's hot. I could look at her. Kano's funny. I could listen to him. And, Cole is going to like throw hands every now and then. Then we get Reptile. We knew Reptile was going to look like a dinosaur. So it was just like, okay, cool. And we get the fight scene, and now this is what I hear people kind of having a gripe about. And again, I didn't get it on the first walkthrough or first watch, where like I saw the fight scenes and they were actiony and they were just what they were. Were they like the first Mortal Kombat movie where they were like clearly like sets and fight scenes? And like, no, this is just an action movie. So I enjoyed it. But even then, it's like it's not even set one-on-one, where it's like this weird shit where you have, especially with the reptile scene, you have Sonya, Kano, and Cody versus Reptile, and it's like, damn, dude. Now that's the thing this is why I talked about my thing with the video games. I know Reptile's been all over the place. I know in the first Mortal Kombat, he was cool. He played a really shitty CG monster, but he transmorphed into a green ninja, and it was like, cool. Like, I'm down with that. Like, that's the Reptile I know, is the green ninja Reptile. But I think in the video games since then, they've had like a reptile species or something, where it's like, oh, it's not a green ninja anymore. It's literally like a reptile humanoid. Which is whatever. I'm like, okay. Like, y'all did that. So that's what we got, was a reptile humanoid. But going along with that was like, well, if he's not the green ninja, then, and he's this reptile humanoid, wouldn't there have been like a whole army of them? Wasn't in the video game where he was like a lizard monster, that there was like a lot of them, not just like a single one? Because whenever I think of Reptile, I think of a single green ninja. But I'm old school like that. I think ever since then they kind of retconned him into this like actual reptile living monster being thing. And whatever. Like, but it's 3-on-1, and I'm like, if he's a part of a army species, like, send 3 of them. Fuck it. You already got the model. Just have 3 of the same model, and then you have 1-on-1-on-1 instead of 3-on-1. But either way, we get what we get. And, Kano rips out the heart, and we see that from the trailer. And it's just like, oh shit. They put all the good shit in the trailer, but I'm still enjoying the movie because Kano's funny, Sonya's hot, and don't care about Cole, but I don't know what they're going to be doing with his character at this point, but fuck it. I know Jax still is got to come back from getting his ass whooped, because I know from the trailer he gets his arm, so it's like, okay, Jax is still going to come back. We still have Liu Kang to get to. We still have Kung Lao. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm still in it, and I'm watching a movie. Then the weird shit happens where Sonya makes a deal with Kano, and that's how they end up meeting Liu Kang, because Kano takes him out to try to find Lord Raiden, and while they're out there, Liu Kang finds them, and it's like, okay, all right. Again, it's like, I don't see, now that I'm breaking it down, I'm like really like ripping into it. But I swear, when I watched this movie the first time, I fucking loved it. Like, I was just in it. I was just into it completely. Even though I kind of see how it doesn't sound that way now. And this is where I start to enjoy the movie, because now we've passed a lot of the trailer. Let me go refill my water. And where's my BRB? BRB. I'll be back. All right. Back. So, got my water. All right, so now this is where the movie becomes the movie for me, because the trailer kind of gave away everything. Where's the pencil? Where's my pencil at? Did I leave my pencil over there? Hold on. I did. I did leave my pencil over there. So, and I gotta make some coffee in like a half hour. Um, so let's see, where are we at? This is where the movie becomes the movie for me. One, I'll break it down from character to character. I've already talked about how Kano's funny. I love Kano because he's funny. And that's that. Like, cool. I dig that. Sonya's hot. I like Sonya because she's hot. Cool. I'm gonna sit there and I'm enjoying the movie. Cole's there. Don't really care for Cole because he hasn't done anything really, but just kind of carry us through as the character who's going to carry us through this story. And it's like, okay, so I'm just going to accept it, but he's not witty. He's not anything. So I don't think anything of him. I don't think ill of him, but I don't think anything good of him either. He's just there. And this is why I'm still in the movie. But because they venture out to go try to find Raiden's thing, this is where Liu Kang enters the movie. And I promise you, man, I fucking love Liu Kang. I love Liu Kang's character. Even after the second walkthrough, after listening to everyone's like complaints about him and things like that, I fucking love Liu Kang. Oh, people are complaining, oh, he's boring, oh, he has no character to him, oh, he's this, he's that. Shut up. Shut up. Liu Kang is awesome. I love him. When he's introduced, he's badass. You got the sunset behind it, like they're walking through the desert, and Kano gets his ass handed to him by Sonya one more time, and they're walking through the desert, the three of them, and then you know they're trying to figure out where to go, and then this is where Liu Kang comes in and swoops in and saves their asses from the desert and from killing each other, you know. So I fucking love Liu Kang. Let me tell you something, man. My impressions of Liu Kang is the first 3 video games where he just played karate guy. Didn't really care about him, but he was able to shoot fireballs, and the way he shot fireballs is pretty cool. And then he had the bicycle kick, which is so much fun. And then in Mortal Kombat 3, the video game, he sounded funny too. Whoa! Woo! And then his bicycle kick, I could never get enough of it. My brother and I, we would just fucking crack up laugh. like, dude. Fucking. So, Liu Kang has always been on my good side. But here's the thing about Liu Kang. He was the main character in the original movie. And the original movie is the hottest piece of Mortal Kombat content out there, other than the ninjas. You know what I mean? You have the ninjas, you have Shang Tsung, you got Liu Kang. Like, and then, obviously because the movie's so old, the actors kind of grew up and things like that. But, it's always much love and respect to the actors. So there's all that my love for Liu Kang is riding off of too. You know what I'm saying? There's just so much. Like with Liu Kang's character, him being the main character of the original movie really had a say as to my liking this movie. And it was going to be up to the actor, or I guess, just however they treated Liu Kang in this movie. The writing, the acting, everything. It was just going to be up to that to make or break Liu Kang for me. And I didn't know this going in. I didn't watch this movie to be like, ooh, I can't wait to see Liu Kang. Like, it wasn't like that at all. I'm just enjoying the movie. It's funny. There's action. I remember these scenes from the trailer, and so we're getting it. It's cool. It's Mortal Kombat, man. I'm fucking here for it. I'm enjoying this. Now we get Liu Kang. He walks onto the scene. I mean, one, he's a silhouette because he's walking with the sunset behind him. So he already looks like a badass, but you can't see him. So because you can't see him and only his silhouette, and I'm thinking about the old Liu Kang, where I'm just like, now I'm in it because it's like, oh shit, there's Liu Kang. And now I'm thinking about the old actor who played Liu Kang. Let's forget that he played Jen in the Street Fighter Chun-Li movie. Let's forget about that part. But let's just think about how it's like, oh my god, Liu Kang, he's my fucking hero. Liu Kang is my Mortal Kombat hero. I didn't even like playing with him in the video games, even though I did for fun. But I didn't play with him because he was like my favorite or anything like that. He was just like a fun character to play with from time to time when you got tired of being a ninja for a while. So Liu Kang's there. Shows up, and he doesn't disappoint. Because anytime I think about Liu Kang, I always think about when he introduced himself, or when he, like, before he, like, beat up Shang Tsung in the first movie, where he goes, I'm Liu Kang, descendant of Kung Lao. Like he did that whole thing, and he was all badass, and then he, like, powered up, and he's like, and then he shoots the fireball, like, that's what I think about when I think about Liu Kang. And I'm like, he's super serious karate guy. So I'm glad he wasn't, like, Americanized I'm glad he wasn't uh like hip. I'm glad he was awkward. I'm glad he was like like let me just get to it. He shows up. He immediately blasts Kano with Fire Blast. Which is funny because he's like the comic foil for everything. So it's like, okay, he blasts Kano. So we're immediately getting fireball blasting Liu Kang off the rippy. Cool. And he has all, he has all his clothes on, but he looks cool. Like I like his outfit, whatever. Like he looks like Liu Kang. Whatever. There we go. So he shows up. He's all extra monkish about everything, and I'm pretty sure that's what he is. Like when they describe him in the video games, he's like, oh, he's a fighting monk or something. Like I don't know what he is. He's just karate guy to me. But he shows up and he's all extra karate guy about everything. I fucking love that. I love that he doesn't know anything other than like I fight I fight. I'm a fighter. Like he's like totally Ryu about everything. Like he don't know. He don't know nothing. Like he's not cool. He's not hip. He don't know a goddamn thing. But he's like, I'll fuck you up with this fireball, motherfucker. Like, like I love Liu Kang in this movie. I couldn't even tell you. So either way, we get introduced to Liu Kang, and now he's like perfect because he's like the counterbalance to Kano. So we're being introduced to these characters one by one. You know, we get Jax, and Jax is cool. Jax leads us to Sonya. Sonya's hot, and she's cool. She's whooping ass. Sonya leads us to Kano. Kano's fucking hilarious, and he says everything that we're thinking. Even the fact that Liu Kang shot a fireball, and he's like, wait, you just shot a fireball out of your hand. How the fuck did you do that? You gotta show me that shit. Like, that's what we're all thinking. You know what I mean? Cole's the only one who's like, like at this point, you know what I mean? But it's like he's the main character. Like we'll accept him. And at this point, I'm also like, man, is Johnny Cage ever gonna show up? We got Scorpion, we got Sub-Zero, you know. We're on our way to see Raiden. I know he's in the movie because he was in like the credits or whatever. And then, he's like, I'm gonna lead you to Raiden. So we're gonna go see Raiden. You know what I mean? But I'm like, man, who am I not thinking about? But it's like, no, we kind of got everybody. I was like, so, but I am wondering if Johnny Cage is gonna show up. But I really don't care at this one. I'm just into the movie. But man, Liu Kang he was the saving grace for me. He was like, this is when I was like, okay, now I'm into the movie because now I don't know what to expect anymore. I believe pretty much a lot of the trailer had already been shown. So it's like, all that's left that I know about is like the Goro scene and the fact that uh I heard that Cabal is in the movie. Melina's, we see Melina, but she hasn't done anything just yet. So, man, now here's the thing. Liu Kang leads them to Raiden and to the temple where they're gonna start training and shit like that. Then we get introduced to Kung Lao. Kung Lao's super dope too. I was always curious about Kung Lao because I was never good at playing his character, but I always liked him. I always liked that hat. You know what I mean? I always liked him just as a character and the design and everything. Just the whole everything about Kung Lao, I loved it. I just wasn't good at playing with him. Um, I couldn't do all the cool shit. I was, a little kid, so you kind of give up when you can't play with a character. You don't like try to get good at it or anything like that. You're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick to shooting fireballs and ice balls at people. But I always liked Kung Lao, and I knew he was coming up because, we got Liu Kang, and that was the other thing was I was always um, interested in Kung Lao because of that line in the old movie where he goes, "I'm Liu Kang, descendant of Kung Lao." Da, 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 da. And I was like, Kung Lao? You mean the dude with the hat? Because I'm watching that movie on repeat, that VHS on repeat, while I'm playing the NES version of whatever. And it's like, so how come I could play Kung Lao while Liu Kang is alive? Like, how is Kung Lao alive at the same time as Liu Kang if Liu Kang is a descendant of him? And it wasn't until this movie that I got an answer. I guess Kung Lao is like a descendant of Kung Lao as well, where like the older him, like he's just like almost like royalty, where the fathers name their kids after themselves over and over and over down the line. So you have like Kung Lao the first, Kung Lao the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seven, eight, nine, 10, like going all the way down the line to whoever this most recent Kung Lao is. And then it's like, okay, and then like Liu Kang explains how he's not like a direct descendant of Kung Lao, maybe he's like a second cousin or some shit. Like it's like, oh, okay, now this is making a little more sense to me, which is neat because now I'm into the movie. I get Liu Kang, he's shooting fireballs, he's all extra kung fu guy about everything, which I love. I don't know why people hate that shit. I don't know why people call that no character, no personality. It's like if you ever meet those people, like there are people in this world that are really monkish, that are really karate guy-ish about everything. That are they take everything so seriously. Those people exist. They're cringy, but they exist. You can't say somebody doesn't have personality or doesn't have character to them just because you don't like their character. Just because you can never see yourself as a monkish person or Mr. Kung Fu guy or Mr. Bead bracelet guy, like just because you don't see yourself as that guy doesn't mean that that guy can't exist. Like that whole character trait exists for a reason. It's because it exists. That's why I'm down with it. Cause it's like, oh my God, Liu Kang is he's hilarious because he's the perfect like imagine if he was just talking about how ridiculous and stupid shit was just like Kano. Then it's like, nah, I already got that from Kano. I don't need Liu Kang to be doing that. I need Liu Kang to be the guy who embraces this shit wholeheartedly. Cause that's who he is. So when I get that, it's like, thank you. Thank you, movie makers, for giving me a Liu Kang who's all extra Liu Kang about shit. Because he's going to be the only one who is, you know? Anyway, so I love Liu Kang. Then we get Kung Lao. And then Kung Lao's even better. Here I already like Kung Lao more than I like Liu Kang, like as a video game character. And now Kung Lao is like proving to be that thing that I think people wanted Liu Kang to be, which is a little more human, a little more he could speak like to regular people without being all extra kung fu guy about everything. Like he actually has a bit of a personality to him or something like that. Like however you want to word it. It's like, okay. So so they start the training and we we get reintroduced to Jax, like I guess like Raiden or Liu Kang. Somebody found Jax after Sub-Zero wiped his ass with him. Um, Jax laid out on the table, but we know he's getting arms because it was spoiled to us from the uh, from the trailer. So he's laid up, but we don't care. There's no question of like, oh, is he going to be able to participate? We know he is because the trailer said so. Is he going to be okay? Like, we know he is. So it's like we see Jax, he's all laid up, and it is what it is. Sucks when trailers like spoil their own movies. Like, I have more of a gripe with that than I do with the movie itself. Like, if the movie was spoiled because of the trailer, I blame the trailer, I don't blame the movie. You know what I mean? So again, I don't hate the movie because I already know what's going to happen. That's just like, shit, probably shouldn't have watched that trailer. But you don't know not to watch a trailer, because what if it's the best trailer ever? What if it doesn't spoil a goddamn thing, but it's still a good trailer? Like, that's what makes good trailers from bad trailers, by the way. And they start training. And in the training, that's where we get, the gold in the movie. Because now we have all these characters messing with each other or interacting with one another. And, I guess we're supposed to care about Cole, but nah. Like no thank you. But Kano's still being hilarious. Sonya's still hot. Liu Kang takes his shirt off. Holy shit. Like, I thought Liu Kang from the 90s had a body on him. Body, yaddy, yaddy, yaddy. Nah. Liu Kang from 2020, him got a body. That man bodied up, and I love it because he knows it, but he act like he don't. I love that shit. I love that shit. I love that he's like, yeah, I'm super swole. Give a fuck. Like, like, I'll fuck you up with these fire blasts though. Like, talk that shit. And Kano calls him like Magic Mike at some point. Like, it's like, so even the movie's calling him out for it. That's why I don't hate his character. It's not like the movie took Liu Kang super seriously. It's like, no, this is who Liu Kang is. And you can't say back in the 90s when Liu Kang took his shirt off and he was all swole and he was doing the yeah and all that shit. Like, you can't say that him having his shirt off then wasn't like a flex too. So I don't know what people's beef with Liu Kang was this time around. Maybe because he's a younger character. I like that choice because it's like, okay, if Liu Kang's got to be like the karate guy and he kind of is in every video game and he's like he's just as important to the story as Scorpion and Sub-Zero, who are still at this point the main characters of Scorpion and Sub-Zero, even all the way through to this movie. It's like, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are clearly the ones that we care about. Everybody else is just everybody else. But for Liu Kang to be a younger guy, it was like, okay, cool. Because if this is going to be carried on for more movies, at least they got this young guy, play him. And it's like that Deadpool movie. He can carry the role for another 10 years. Which he may have to. Who knows? If people stop talking shit about the movie, we might get another one. And at the end of the day, we don't get enough Mortal Kombat movies, so let's be grateful that we got one. And that's my whole stance on shit. So, yeah, Liu Kang takes his shirt off for training, and and I'm just like, yeah, good for you, man. Liu Kang looking fine as shit, looking sexy as shit. And he's just like, kung fu. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's so funny. So, training montage stuff, whatever. But also, like, Shang Tsung, like, Like now that they all grouped together at Raiden's hideout, they're like fish in a barrel for him. So oh, and we meet Raiden. You know, I wasn't sure what Raiden was gonna do, but he didn't do much in this movie. He just kind of played like a talking piece. He was just like the adult figure, but really didn't do nothing. Um, you know, Raiden in the old movies had a little bit more of a role. Like he kind of did a little bit more. He at least fought and did things. In this movie, they kind of scripted it in of like, oh no, like elder gods can't get involved. Da 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 da. And it was just like, okay, like if you can't, then my whole question was like, how is Shang Tsung getting involved in everything if you're not allowed to? Like I feel like Shang Tsung is a cheat code for the bad guys. Like how is he getting involved in shit and not getting penalized or like why can't like Raiden, like Shang Tsung's already getting involved in shit. Like he just rolled up to your front door. Like Shang Tsung is here. He's not just sending his people to do his bidding. Like like he's here to like Shang Tsung is here. So what do you mean you can't get involved? Like it just didn't make sense to me. And that was disappointing. So it's like, okay, I don't care about Raiden because he's just not doing shit, but just being a mouthpiece, you know, as the elder, and you know, obviously Liu Kang is like worshiping him, so it's like, okay, like I guess I don't know, but at least we got Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and they're you know beating up Kano and whatever happens, and then we get one of some of my favorite stuff where the bad guys kind of have their bad guy meeting and we get introduced to Cabal, and I fucking love Cabal. Cabal has always had one of my favorite designs. You know what I mean? I love that he had those little whatever he fights with things, and you know he had like the zip fast shit, and he had like a fucked up face that you never got to see, but when he took it off he like scared you to death or something with it. Like Cabal was always like this weird character to me, and I don't know how he's been treated like ever since the trilogy game. Um, but I loved seeing him here because just like Kano, now he's like he's a bit of a breath of fresh air from all the karate and all the everything that's going on. Like Cabal has this New York accent or like a Boston accent. It was just jarring to hear a Boston accent in like the nether realm or the outworld or wherever they are, whatever that shit's called. And he's just like, "Oh, Shang Tsung, give a fuck about this." Like da 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 da. Like, oh my god, it's so funny. So seeing Cabal or hearing Cabal more likely was just like, ah, that's hilarious. And he's like, yeah, fuck Kano, fuck that guy. And then he goes, you'll love him. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And then we cut over to the this is what I always knew was gonna happen scene of this is where Kano betrays them because Cabal goes to visit him, and then in a matter of minutes he convinces him like come over to the bad guy side. A little disappointed that it didn't take much, but also like it was understanding. Oh, how about even before that? Like just before the Cabal Kano scene, the best scene ever. Well, the best scene in the movie, and I didn't really think about it much until Max mentioned it, but he's not lying when he said it. That scene is the best. There's a scene where they're all grabbing dinner, like from training. You know what I mean? Like they're not training anymore, so they went to go have dinner after training. How the fuck did they get that food? I guess there's like monks in there and they're cooking while they're training or something. So I guess like that's how that happens. But either way, again, I'm always wondering like how are people living? Um, it's one of the best scenes. And this is what it's like. This is when it's like, okay, you have Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the beginning. And then you have uh, the dichotomy between Kano and Liu Kang as far as like how different their characters are. Yet they're in the same room together. And it makes for a good entertaining movie. Now you have this dinner scene. And this is when it's like, oh my god, this is what Mortal Kombat can be? Because it's still so hard of a concept to try to put together. The games can do it, but games are different from everyday storytelling. And I'll probably talk about that one day. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, that'd be a good thing to talk about on the stream. But I'm not going to do it while I'm talking about the MK, uh, um, whatever, the review, I guess, that I'm giving, the spoiler review that I'm giving. So, so yeah, this dinner scene, I mean, it's hilarious because it's Kano, and this is why I didn't even think about it as like the best scene in the movie on my first watch. Because it's just Kano being hilarious, but it's also Kano finding his laser eye. And again, I don't know how this arcane stuff works. Because they're like, oh, you got to train to get your arcane, and this is how the Mortal Kombat contestants get their special powers. And it's like, okay, like I don't know if that is a part of the new games or what, but it you know, because you have Liu Kang who shoots fire, who has his arcane already. You have Raiden, Lord of Lightning, who's shooting lightning. They're all elemental. You have um, nobody else has powers. Oh, well, you have Sub-Zero, but you can assume, like I don't know if like the Cryomancer part came from getting the arcane, or if you got it from Netherrealm, maybe a little bit of both. Like I just don't know. I know in the beginning of the movie, Sub-Zero wasn't able to freeze an entire environment before he showed up, but now here we are, fast forward to the future. Now he's freezing environments. So, you know, like he's like an awakened Zoan, you know, like he's Aokiji or something on Punk Hazard. Like he's able to do that now, but he didn't do that when he was fighting Sub-Zero. He was like he had to like muster up a lot of strength to just freeze his hand. So it was like, okay, maybe that was just something given to him from like the Nether Realm where his like ice powers came to be, but again, they're all very elemental. Um, at in the old school fight, we didn't see Scorpion do any fire stuff, so I'm guessing he didn't have it. So maybe that's why Sub-Zero was able to get the drop on him because he had his ice powers just a little bit, which it was enough more than Scorpion getting his fire powers because later on in the movie Scorpion gets them and then he explains them how he got them, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. So okay, cool. Again, I'm just here to watch the movie, and I'm entertained either way. Like I'm gonna enjoy it no matter what. But yeah, so everybody's like training to get their arcane, and then it's through that we're having this dinner scene after training, and nobody's getting their arcane. Sonya can't, because of reasons. Jax is finally up, but he got these like little Tin Man arms, so he can't. And then so all we have is Cole and Kano, which seems like very not like cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I really don't care about Cole, and Kano's hilarious, but I don't think he's like in my head. I'm thinking arcanes are these elemental things. You know what I'm saying? Fire, lightning, ice. They're elemental. Well, I know from the video games, Kano's power. Well, one of the things that I'm not even going to say power, is he has that eye thing going on where he can shoot lasers with his eyes. And we see it in the trailer, so we know he gets it. But to me, it was never like a magical power. It was a technological power that he had. Like, to me, there we go. Like, yeah, go get this picture. Yeah, so Kano's power was always like a technological one, and then I thought that that's where it was going. I thought Kano, storytelling wise, was like, oh, you're not gonna get your power. Um, come over to the dark side, and we'll give you the power. We're gonna cover up that scar that Reptile gave you, and we're gonna give you technology to cover it up, and with that technology, you're gonna get uh, laser beam face powers with it. And he's like, sold, That's where I thought it was going. But no, we have this dinner scene. And this part I guess that's why I didn't really recognize it as one of the best scenes in the movie, even though it was, because you have Kano being funny, and he's sharing a table with all the good guys, and he's clearly a bad guy, but because he has this scar, the dragon marking, like everyone's tolerating him. So he's sharing this table with everybody, and he starts like ripping on Liu Kang and Kung Lao, which is hilarious. Again, this is why I love Liu Kang's character in this movie, because he's getting ripped into, and he's taking it, and he takes it, and Kung Lao, he's also like a little martial arty, a little bit of a karate guy, but he's a little more personable than Liu Kang is. Which is odd, because it's like, how come Liu Kang is, or Kung Lao can be so personable, but Liu Kang can't. But it's people are different. People have their own personalities. So Liu Kang is more of a karate guy than Kung Lao is, even though Kung Lao is the more chosen one of or whatever, has the birthright of the Kung Lao descendancy, or whatever you want to call it, aristocracy. But either way, Kano's ripping into them. Like, yo, I just want to get them fire hands. I just want to shoot fireballs. Like, what the fuck? And then the most interesting part happens. Kung Lao starts ripping into Kano. And then not only that, but Liu Kang starts ripping into Kano. And this is also why I could accept Liu Kang's character. Like I said, Liu Kang was what made the movie for me. And you know what I mean? Like, because he made that cringy karate guy persona believable. And because he was so different from the Liu Kang of the old movies. Like, Liu Kang in the old movies was interesting because he was kind of like, what the fuck? What's going on? All this Mortal Kombat shit is crazy. I just want to kick Shang Tsung's ass. And who's this Katana girl? She's so hot. But what the fuck is she talking about? Like, Liu Kang was kind of just, he was Cole in the old movies. You know what I mean? But Liu Kang in this movie, oh my god. So when you have the cringy karate guy who quote unquote has no personality or whatever, and has the personality type that people hate him. Uh yeah. And Kano's ripping into him, and they're all, and then all right, so he has the best one of the best lines. Again, I love me some Liu Kang. He takes his shirt off. He's sexy as fuck. He's whooping everybody's ass. He's tripping Kano over and over again. He's all extra karate guy, but it's like cool and funny to me at least. Kung Lao is ripping into Kano. I'm like, oh shit, the karate guys is getting it in, and then Kano's like, you could see now he's getting upset because this is what happens when you're the funny guy, bully guy, always talking shit guy, is that you can dish it out but you can't take it, and it's one of those scenes, and you don't recognize it when Kung Lao starts to rip into Kano that that's what he's doing, because even on my second watch through and I know it's going to happen, I still don't get the vibe of like Kung Lao's doing it in order to get Kano riled up. I think that they're just naturally speaking to one another. And and it's when Liu Kang gets in and he goes, "Oh, you misunderstand me. Uh this man is here to save you because you can't save yourself." He goes, "You need to be bowing down to this man," meaning you need to be bowing down to Kung Lao because Kung Lao is the greatest warrior of us. And Kung Lao is going to be here to rescue us because your bitch ass can't find your arcane magic power like how I have my fire fist, and the other guy over here also can't find, like, but he's not being a little dick about it, like Cole is just kind of cold chilling, not really doing nothing but not finding his power, but Kano's talking all this shit but also can't find his power. So when you have Liu Kang ripping into him being like, you need to be bowing down to this man, like he's gonna save your life. He's gonna win this tournament for us. You know what I mean? And he's gonna win this tournament for you. So like chill out because he may not. You know what I mean? You wouldn't make it out alive without him. And then Kano just goes off on a tirade, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious every fucking time. Even it's already past that moment on the playback I have going on in the background right now. But even as I was like talking and rewatching, I was just like, yeah, it's a good fucking scene. Like I'll go back and rewatch that scene any and every time. Hopefully somebody clips it, throws it up on YouTube. You can watch it. Just watch like dinner scene Mortal Kombat 2021 or something like that. It's so good. But Kano goes on a tirade, and then boom, he gets his arcane from getting angry. And then Kung Lao has first like a look of shock, but then a second look of like happy. Like, okay, cool, he got his arcane power. That's what we need. And he was happy. He was like, was that his plan the whole time? I don't think it was, but maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't fucking know. So that happens. And Liu Kang, or And then it's not until after that. See, the movie just ended. I started that movie back when I started the stream, so yeah, it's like a hour 40-minute long movie, and the movie just ended. Um, Maybe I'll just replay it again. Let me rewind it. Cause yeah, I just want to keep playing it on repeat. At least while I'm doing the stream or talking about it, I don't want to put something else on and then it'll distract me. But either way, there we go. So we're rewinding. I'm good. Yes. Alright, so now I'm replaying the movie for the 4th time. But either way. So Kano gets his arcane power, and I'm like thrown off because I was like, oh. Like, he has his power. So now I really don't know what to expect from the movie. Because I thought it was going to be like, oh, you know, hey, betray them and trade up. We'll give you this laser eye. You know what I mean? But that doesn't happen. The next scene, or, you know, next-ish scene, I guess is the one where we get Cabal. And then, you know, Cabal is fucking hilarious. You know, and then Cabal goes to visit Kano. And then he just straight up tells him, like, hey, man, this is it. It goes like this. And you can get paid buku bucks. So, like trade. You know what I mean? Switch sides. And then he happily does it. And that's the part that kind of confuses me, because it's like, okay, now I came into this movie knowing Kano was going to betray them. But after a scene like that, and Kano's happy because he has, like, laser eye. I mean, then he goes back into ripping into Liu Kang. He's like, better than fucking fireballs. Like, you know, laser beams are better than fireballs. And it's like, okay. At that point, I'm like, now I really don't know what to expect. But then as soon as he goes on to trading them, I was like, okay, now this is the movie that I knew was going to happen. But this is also where I start to get confused in my lack of knowledge of the games in between 3 and 10, because I started watching playthroughs of Mortal Kombat, or like just watching like matches and things like that after you know, by the time, like I said, it was after like they did the DC versus Mortal Kombat, and then I think like 10 came out after that, and then like 11 most recently. But I still didn't like keep up with the game because there was like all these new characters, and I just don't know who they are. You know what I mean? Like Ermac is different than what he used to be, and like Rain is in there. Who's Noob Saibot? Like I've since then learned like some of these things, but you know what I mean. Like I just been out of the loop for too long to like keep up and be cool with all this. So it's like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. And you know, as we're meeting Cabal, we're also meeting all these other bad guys. And after Kano like trades, switches sides, the bad guys once again roll up on Raiden's front door, and now essentially this is where the fights, when all the fights are gonna happen. And it's like, okay. And here's the thing is, I just don't know if like who some of these characters are. They had like some chick with wings. I think her name was Natala. Don't know who she is. But she's a flying character, and I was just like, is she even in the games? Like, do they have flying characters? And then I remember they have Kronos or whatever her name is, and it's like, okay, so they do have characters that fly and stuff like that. and they've made video games with like Superman who flies. So it's like, okay, they, Mortal Kombat and NetherRealm are familiar enough with flying characters. Maybe they did, but maybe it was just so long ago that, or they the character just got by me and I never learned about them or heard about them. So it's like, okay, we got this wing chick who I don't know, so don't care about her. And then we have uh, this hammer dude who's like, I don't know who Hammer Dude is, so I just don't know how to feel about him or her. Like the way that I feel about them is like y'all are fodder, and that's the worst part is knowing fodder characters, because it's like, okay, at least if when they go out, maybe they go out in a cool way. You know what I mean? Like when Sonya in Annihilation, in the bad movie, when Sonya does like the kiss of death thing, and then I think she kills Cyrax that way. Like, like that's cool. Like as long as these fodder characters got in a way that kind of makes the main characters that we do care about look cool. And basically that's going to be the setup. We have all the bad guys lined up, and we have all the good guys lined up, and and Melina's there too. She, yeah. Either way, like the fights start happening, and they're all over the place. Either way, the good guys get their asses handed to them. Oh yeah, they sent Cole home because he can't learn his power, which I was like, okay. Oh, but they also introduced Goro too in that scene with the weird winged chick lady and hammer dude. They introduced Goro, and I was like, cool. Didn't have any lines. They're just like, you see the door open, you see his shadow cast, and you see four arms, and I was like, tight. What a cool way to introduce Goro. That's how he was introduced in the first movie. In the first movie, the way we first see Goro is he's a shadow casted against a wall, and you see all the arms, like all four arms, and it's like, oh shit, there's Goro. Now we knew Goro was gonna be there because, sorry, I'm drinking water. Now we knew Goro was gonna be there of because of the commercials, previews. Oh, I gotta go make that coffee, don't I? Yeah, I'll be right back. I'm gonna make some of that coffee. Back in a second, chat. So we see Goro, or Goro's shadow, and then the bad guys all roll up. And we don't see Goro with all the bad guys who roll up on Lord Raiden and his champions that Cole has since left because he ain't got no powers. And they're like, Cole, get your bitch ass out of here. And honestly, I'm pretty sure everybody in the world is feeling like, Cole, get your bitch ass out of here. I thought you was going to be a dope character, a good addition to the video game. You know, I thought this was going to be the beginning of something new where the video game and the movie worlds are going to start to collide, where the movie can dictate the game and the games can dictate the movies and the movies can tell the stories that the games can't, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you just not doing nothing, man. You getting your ass whooped, you getting your ass whooped, you getting your ass whooped. Like Kano said, maybe your arcane magic power is to get your ass whooped by a hat. because... Cause yeah, still love the movie, but yeah, it wasn't really feeling like Cole, even all the way up to this point. Cause now we getting deep, but you know, now that Cole's out of the picture, now we have none but characters, except for, you know, the fodder bad guy characters. That this is what it is. Oh shit! Then I wanna. Yes, I did. So, you know, we're like, okay, everybody gonna start fighting. Kano's like, yeah, I betrayed y'all. You know, nobody's shocked. Um, Jack's got his robot, little Tin Man arms. Uh, Liu Kang, Kung Lao are basically your only real hope at anything. And for whatever reason, Raiden ain't getting involved still. So that's trash. But whatever. They all start fighting. Then we flash over to Cole, who comes back to his family, all defeated. All just like, I'm useless, or whatever happened. Like, he goes back to his family. And Goro sends him a visit, or is, you know, visits him. And this is when I'm like, ah, no. Still, I still like the movie. I still like everything. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and shit on it. But I'm like, no, you're not gonna do my boy Goro like this. Cause one, you know, the main character, Cole, can't get killed. Like, they're not gonna kill the character now that we know that he's like not gonna be getting killed or anything like that. Like, he ain't shit, but he's also ain't killable. Um, Even Max dude at some point, or no, when I was watching Max, he had his boy Steve on, and Steve goes, "Oh yeah, he gets plot armor," like, cause during the fight with Goro, that's the one thing that I didn't like about the movie was how they did Goro, and this is what I mean. They Goro gets he was like the baddest man. Even in the first movie when Johnny Cage took him out, he took him out with a nut shot. So at least it's like funny. You know what I mean? Like he gives him a nut shot and then he chases him and he runs off, he chases him, takes him to close to an edge, and then he's just like, those are $500,000 pair of sunglasses, asshole. And then like knocks him off the edge or whatever it was. And then he even does like a callback line to the beginning of the movie. I'm talking about the old movie with Johnny Cage. And he does like a callback line to, he goes, and this is where you fall down. And then, Goro falls. And it's like, okay, that's satisfying. You know, can't nobody ever take Goro out, video game or not. So but, you know, I was like, you're not gonna do this. Like Cole better have like the best fucking arcana if you're gonna do my boy Goro like this. And then it turns out, nope, he doesn't. He does Goro like that still, but um uh that was the one part I didn't like. And even when I was telling people like, oh, I like the movie, there was just like kind of one part that I really didn't like. And it was how they did how Goro got treated. Goro got treated as the big brute character who is, he's all CG monster. He's no, um, he's not whatever. Like they don't put any respect on his name. Once upon a time, Goro was the baddest man in fighting games. And my, how the mighty hath fallen. Because now he's just a plot device of getting characters who have shown to have no ability. All of a sudden now they have ability. Had Cole been the character who made fun of everything like Kano did, had Cole had been treated like like Miles Morales Spider-Man in Enter the Spider-Verse, where he went and fought even though he didn't have no powers anyways. But none of that happened. He didn't have any character to him, meaning he didn't talk shit about Mortal Kombat. He just kind of coasted along with it. And then, like, he didn't even decide to stay and fight. Lord Raiden just said, like, hey, you gotta get the fuck out of here because you ain't got no magic powers, bruh. And he was just like, okay, I go back to my family now. And then this is where the buck stops for me. Even though we know that this birthmark is from birth, and I'm the direct lineage of Scorpion, the baddest man of the franchise. Like, this is where the buck stops for me. Until Goro enters the scene, and it's like, no, you're not gonna do Goro like that. You're not gonna make Goro the one. Like, he better do something. And then he don't do nothing. Goro, like, the first time I saw Goro, I wasn't even sure if he had any lines, because he didn't say anything when he was introduced. When we see the shadow with the 4 arms, he didn't say anything then. Shao Kahn was just like, or Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung was just like, Goro, it's nice to have the blood of Shao Kahn on our side, da 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 da. And, it's like, oh, dope. They got, Shao Kahn got a shout out, as well as, like, we're getting Goro, 4-arm shadow. Like, it was dope. And then it wasn't until the second watch that I was like, oh, okay, he does have some lines where he's like, now I rip you in half, blah, blah, blah. Like, all right. But the first time he didn't have any lines. He was just like, CG monster gonna get taken out by this undeserving main character. And then he gets his Cole Young, the undeserving character, main character dude, gets his power, And here's the thing. Here's the thing about Cole. He gets his power, and he's a direct lineage of Scorpion. And Scorpion is famously a fire guy. He has that fire thing where the fist from hell comes and it pops out of the ground, grabs you, and like drags you down. He has the flame breath. He probably shoots fireballs. I don't know. But, you know, like, it was always like Scorpion is the sun and Sub-Zero is the ice. You know what I'm saying? Like Scorpion is fire and Sub-Zero is ice. And you know, you're expecting anyone who has any sort of direct lineage to Scorpion to have fire. I didn't know what to expect, because at this point I'm just like, Cole is going to be a different character, and I know from the trailers that Scorpion, the Japanese Scorpion that died in the beginning of the film, is coming back as Scorpion. So, but I was like, this Cole guy, when he gets his power, he's going to be like Scorpion 2.0, or he's just going to have some other fire shit, you know. Again, I'm not familiar with the video games, but either way, he gets armor. That's one, which is fine, because it's like, okay, you get a suit. Like Jax, he got his arms, and his arcane allowed his arms to build themselves up into what we know Jax's arms to be. You know, where he had those Tin Man arms, but then after getting his ass whooped by Hammer Dude, he had to go save Sonya. He goes to save her with the Tin Man arms, and he gets his power that way. And it's like, okay, cool. But Cole, you know, he had to go save his family. And I think that that's cool, because it's like Scorpion, when in the beginning of the movie, died trying to protect his family. And now this guy's the direct lineage. So now you have this, like, blood ties and family defending family, and you know, you have all this stuff going on as far as like Scorpion's family and the concept of family and protecting your family and things like that. And Cole's family is getting threatened by Goro, and you know, Cole does what he has to does, and he gets his arcane. And it's not really clear at first. He kind of gets an outfit. And it's like, okay, cool. He has an outfit. But it's like, no, the outfit is his arcane. Like, it's armor. It's T'Challa armor. It's the Black Panther armor, where you beat up on it and it absorbs the power. And then he gets the power to fire back on you with a little more explosive power. He's kind of like a charge character or some shit. And it's like, okay, I guess. And then I didn't even think about it, but they gave him like these tampas, these little weapons that you hold them out like this, and then they go down your forearm. It's like Maki from Street Fighter, or maybe Rolento had them, like from Street Fighter. But Tonfa weapons, Tonfa, you can look them up, you'll know what I'm talking about. They're kind of like club weapons. Cops kind of have them sometimes, but they're just called clubs or something. One of them has a blade on it. The other one is just regular dull, like a regular tonfa. And yeah, and here's the thing I didn't know. When I was watching Max's review and when he was talking about it, apparently there's a character already that exists within the Mortal Kombat world named like Takashi or Takeda, something like that, Takaka, I don't know. But there's already a character that exists who has like tonfa weapons. Which immediately I'm like, well, why didn't they just make either Cole that character, or why'd they give Cole that weapon? Like, if Cole's a direct lineage and he has like this fire thing going on, and it is a fire thing, because he gets gold armor, which matches, Scorpion's uh, theme color of the gold, whatever. And then his charge power, like when Black Panther got hit and it turned purple, it was like purple charge power. Cole's is red, like fire. So it's like, okay, he's got the gold and red thing going on like Scorpion. So it was like, why? And then it didn't even hit me because, I'm just watching a cheesy movie. And plus, I'm kind of disappointed about the Goro thing just happening. Where Goro's getting treated like this. Where... Oh, yeah. Man, is there... How can I draw this? I guess it's just random, right? Just draw some clouds back here. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to like really draw some clouds because but yeah, it didn't hit me until Max said it. And this is what I mean by like I'm an idiot too, is because Cole's a cage fighter. And he gets these Tonfa weapons, and I didn't think anything of it because the way that I saw the weapon use was like, oh, Scorpion and Sub-Zero and everybody fights with weapons now in the video game. Like in the video games, everyone's magically fighting with weapons instead of like their fists nowadays. So it was like, okay, I guess non-weapon fighting characters are all of a sudden weapon fighting characters. So when I saw Cole get it, I didn't think any more, any less of it is when I saw Scorpion and Sub-Zero fighting with swords in whatever game that was that they got those. But I just knew this was the part of the movie, just like Johnny Cage says, this is where you fall down. That this is where Goro's gonna get got. Now, I didn't know Goro was gonna get got the way that he got get. Because Goro, man, this is why I hate how they did him. And I don't even care about Goro all that much, but I'm like, Goro's the baddest man. You know what I'm saying? He's not even a man, but you know what I'm saying. Like Goro's got to be... He's got to be a feat to conquer. And for Cole to go from getting his ass whooped by everybody to being able to take on Goro with weapons that he's never fought before with armor that he doesn't quite understand how to use it because he was just given it 5 seconds ago. Like, I can't believe that they did Goro that way. I hated it, man. I thought Goro was going to be like, he was going to show up, he was going to wreck house, and then something was going to happen where he would be forced to leave the situation because he's just too OP. Just like Raiden can't fight, and Shang Tsung really isn't doing nothing, and I know because of the actor who's playing Shang Tsung that if he does do anything, it's going to just be magical, but it's not going to be like anything kung fu-y punches and kicks because I know that actor doesn't know how to punch and kick. So it's like, okay, whatever. But yeah, yeah, just nothing happened. Oh shit, let me look up something because I've been wanting to add something and I don't know if I should or not. Maybe I should. Maybe I should just call this picture done. As far as like the pencil illustration, maybe I should just start coloring it at this point. I wanted to throw like seashells and rocks in the sand and things like that for, since he's on a beach and stuff, like maybe there should be like little seashells. Not all over the place, but just, maybe a conch here and there. Maybe a coconut. I don't know. But nah, I think I'll just let it ride as is. I've already I've already drawn a lot. So, yeah, man, they just, they did Goro dirty. And then like he didn't even just get his ass whooped. Like he used the tonfa blade to start cutting him in half. And I'm in the middle of reading One Piece where they're fighting Kaido, and Kaido has the toughest skin and he's the toughest beast on the planet. And I'm looking at Goro like he's the toughest beast, even though I know he has to get his ass handed to him. And yeah, he like chops up Goro, man. And he chops up Goro like 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 he makes Swiss cheese out of him. And I was just like, damn, Goro was that easy to cut up? Like I don't care about your arcana. I don't care about like that shit. Like you could have just whooped up Goro, knocked him back to Netherrealm or some shit. Like maybe you hurt him and then he opens up a portal or something and then you just knock him through the portal. You know what I mean? Like some Steppenwolf shit. I don't know. But he just straight up like butchers him. And I was just like, no. Like when he first chopped off his hand, I was just like, ah, shit. And you see the hand fall off and crumple over, and you see him react to it. It was a little real, man. I don't know. Like it was really gory. Like I don't really like gore doesn't mess with me and stuff like that. But just seeing it like that, where I'm just like, oh man, Goro's. I was like, does he get like robot arms or anything like that? Like I started thinking about Goro and like is he gonna chop him up and like that's actually gonna like play a part into like whatever Goro does next after this movie? And I was just like, I don't think he does. Like I think he just like kind of like like is this gonna be it for Goro? They just did him like this. At least he fell off a cliff and got like a funny line in the first movie. Here he's just they just butchered him like they hated Goro or something. I don't know. It hurt. It hurt to see that go down that way. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can put seashells. That's what I could do. Cause yeah, I live on the beach, and the beach always has like a bunch of seashells along the shoreline, and the shoreline is right here, so I could throw seashells at the bottom. So yeah, let me look that up real quick. So like seashell shoreline. I'm trying to find a decent picture of it. Everything is so zoomed in. Maybe if I just look up shoreline and not, but who knows what that's gonna give me. Yeah, maybe I don't put any seashells then. If that's the way it's gonna be. So, well, you can see where the movie goes after that. The main character gets his power, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna go join the fight, and then we go back to the other fighters. See, like this is kind of what I'm looking for, something like that. Shoreline seashells. See how they're kind of peppered about. Like that's similar to what I'm used to. Um, oh, maybe they write something into the sand that's getting washed away. That's kind of dope. maybe I just let it rock like this, and then I just kind of fade in little bits of grass back here. So you know, Goro's defeated and my heart's broken, and you know, go back to the fights, and Jax is getting his ass whooped because he ain't got no arms, and Sonya, uh, you know, Melina lets her live, and then Kano goes to finish her off, and then because Goro just went, and now I'm just like, damn, if they're killing off Goro like this, like characters are gonna start dying off maybe, like maybe they're not worried about killing characters off, and then I was just like, I don't know, like I don't know what to expect anymore, you know, other than a rematch between Sub-Zero. But you know, Cabal's zipping around, and yeah, they just, you know, good guys get their ass whooped, bad guys leave, and just before the bad guys leave, Shang Tsung get involved, and I'm just like, wait, how's Shang Tsung getting involved? And you know, like Raiden want to sit there and act like he can't throw a lightning bolt at a motherfucker. All right, where are we at? Two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. So I'm at 6 pictures, so I got 4 more to take. I'm gonna go grab some coffee. Give me a second. When I get back, I'm gonna start coloring this in, and I don't know if I want to do markers first or do inks first. We'll see. I should do markers first, but I wasn't planning on getting this far. But this review talk is taking far too long. But I don't know. Let me know if you like it. Alright, so I got my coffee in my hand, and now we gotta follow movie rules. You kill off a main bad guy, you may have to kill off a main good guy, especially if you're making a violent movie that's based off violence like Mortal Kombat, where, you know, mortal is in the name, so mortality has gotta be the game. And they killed off Goro, so it's like, oh shit, they gonna kill somebody off, and I like all these motherfuckers. I don't want to see Kano, or I don't want to see Sonya go. I don't want to see um what's his name go. Jax, Liu Kang, Kung Lao. You know, I could see Cody going, or whatever his name is, the new guy. I could see him going. That'd be a fucking blast. But considering he just got his power and he just took out Goro, like, alright, I guess. There we go. I can start. I can start with this color. So, yeah, you know, the fighting happens and fight whatever, whatever, whatever. But right before the, you know, Lord Raiden, instead of zapping motherfuckers with a lightning bolt, he uses his lightning to transport his own people, his own fighter people that he's on their side. He zaps them with lightning in order to get them out of that situation, in order to like teleport them out. Which, one, I didn't know Raiden can do that. I mean, maybe he did that in the old movies. I don't know. But, or maybe he could do that in the video games. I don't know. But yeah. So everybody's getting their ass whooped and he zaps them all out. And, uh, before they all go, Shang Tsung jumps in, he gets involved, and then he grabs the boy Kung Lao, the best of us. Kung Lao, the best of us. He grabs Kung Lao. Oh shit, I'm replaying the movie for the fourth time and Liu Kang just appeared. Looking sexy in that sunset. Anyways, Kung Lao gets grabbed and Cabal's hilarious because he's like, I think he's fighting Liu Kang. He's like, oh shit, Shang Tsung just grabbed Kung Lao. He about to get his soul sucked. He said he's gonna get his soul sucked. Like, that's hilarious. He goes, I love it when they scream. I was just like, all right, like, I love me some Cabal, man. Like, I loved his character before. I'm not really all that familiar with him. I just know him from MK3. But yeah, you know, he was zooping around doing some shit, talking shit, and it's like, okay, cool. I could work with it. And yeah, they got Kung Lao, man. Sucked his soul out. It was terrible. It was a sight. It was a sight scene, man. But I mean, if you Shang Tsung and you sucking people's souls out, I guess that's what it looks like, and that's how it's gonna be. So it's like, all right, and you know, some of the good guys had to get it. So it just happened to be Kung Lao, which sucks. That should have been the part where, see, now this, when I watched the trailer and I was talking about Cody and his role, I said, hey, maybe he's just put in there so that he could die, so that way the characters that we do know and love have a reason to live. Like, Cody's going to be the sacrificial lamb in order for Liu Kang and Jax and Sonya to get their asses together to do this fight. Like, that's what I thought from the trailer, you know, months ago. What ends up happening is, nah. They that's what they do with Kung Lao, and they allow Cody to just keep on fighting and shit. It's like, God damn it, dude. Yeah, I ain't had to do the man like that. But whatever. So Kung Lao got, and then we go into the end, and the end is just like, all right, all our main guys, they beat up all the bad guys. So now it's like round 2, and you know, Liu Kang, after Cabal talked all that shit while Kung Lao got his soul sucked, Liu Kang got the whoop up. Cabal did his thing. And then I don't know. Cole fought like it doesn't matter. Good guys win, bad guys lose, and then it leads all the way up to the rematch of the century, where now Sub Zero shows up after all the bad guys is dying one by one. Sub Zero shows up, and he's like, "Oh, y'all forgot about me?" And you know he has like Cole's daughter's bracelet that he made for him or some shit like that, and Cole's like, "No." And he goes chasing Sub-Zero, and Sub-Zero used that transporter magic that Shang Tsung has to go to, transport Cole over to whatever. So now it's Cole with his newfound power versus Sub-Zero, and it's just like, oh no. But we also know what's going to happen. We just don't know how it's going to happen. That's why we're watching the movie. We know that it's going to be the rematch of the century. We just don't know when and where Scorpion's coming from, because if he could just pop back up, why hasn't he popped back up already? So now we get the fight scene that we saw in the trailer between uh Cole's fighting Sub-Zero, but he ain't shit. So he gets his ass handed to him. And then I don't even know how, but Scorpion just pops back up. Now I get it that it has something to do with that kunai that had his blood on it, and it was the kunai that Sub-Zero used to stab him thousands of years ago. That Raiden had, that he gave it to Cole. Said, "This is your ancestors. Like, you should have it." So that's why Cole had it. But and then like it was after Sub-Zero was handing Cole's ass to him, and he had that shuriken, knife, whatever, with and Cole was getting his blood on it because Sub-Zero's fucking him up. Like Sub-Zero's getting ready to hit the final blow on Cole, and then that's when Scorpion returns. But it was like, I don't know why Scorpion returned, because there wasn't like a significant shot of like maybe Cole's blood getting onto Scorpion's, that it like maybe revitalized Scorpion's blood a little bit, and because he had now Scorpion's blood is living on the blade, that he was able to return to the Earth realm or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's not clear, other than like Scorpion comes back, which is dope because fuck Cole. Like at this point, like I ain't like your character. You took out Goro. You got this whack ass power that ain't got nothing to do with Scorpion lineage. Um, you know what I mean? Like step aside, kid. Let Scorpion do the talking. So we get the rematch, and it's everything that you saw in the trailers. Like there's not much else to it. Obviously, we're at the end of the movie, so if good guys are gonna win, bad guys are gonna lose. Scorpion's gonna have to defeat Sub-Zero in some way, and if he doesn't, then Cole's gonna come in. And again, it's really weird because on the second watch through, I started seeing like, oh yeah, Scorpion's family, Scorpion's lineage. He was protecting his family. Like there's so much stuff about Scorpion and his blood and relatives and family and all this stuff, that it turned into like Scorpion was fighting Sub-Zero while Sub-Zero had Cole's family held captive. And I'm sitting there thinking about like, oh yeah, doesn't that mean that Cole's daughter, who didn't look like his daughter, has Scorpion blood in her too? I was just like, why didn't they just get rid of Cole and then just let the daughter kind of be there. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll just let her be the fighter in the next movie or some shit. I don't know, man. Just I didn't really enjoy Cole at the end of the day, which is a bummer. I would have liked to enjoyed the main character. I enjoyed Liu Kang in the first movie. Hell, even the second movie. So it's like, you wanna enjoy the main character. So when the main character is the one that you least into, it doesn't matter that you're watching a Mortal Kombat movie. I gotta go grab another cup of coffee in a second. So yeah, we get it. And then as I was watching Max's review, he talks about how Scorpion took his mask on and off like 100 times, and I was just like, I didn't really notice that. Like I noticed he was taking his mask off to talk, and I knew it was because it was the actor, and it's like Hollywood does this thing where it's like, oh, we gotta see the actor's face, or what's the point? And it's like, yeah, no, actually, sometimes it's best when we don't see it. You know what I mean? We're still going to celebrate the actor because the role will bend so much more better without the face being seen, depending on what the role is. But if you're doing a character whose mask literally always stays on, except for when he peels it off to melt the motherfucker's face off, if that's the only time he ever takes his mask off, then that should be the only time he ever takes his mask off. In the first movie, when Scorpion took his mask off, he to go melt Johnny Cage's ass to the floor. Like, there we go. Scorpion grabbed his mask, peeled it back, turned it into a skull, started shooting fire out of his face at Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage hit him with a sharp shield with the basically hit him with like a Kung Lao move and started chopping up Scorpion's skull. And then you get to watch him melt, and it's all extra gnarly and shit. And here, Scorpion is just taking off his mask. I didn't notice this, so that's why when I wanted to rewatch it first, so I could look at what Max was talking about, and then like assess for myself, because I did notice it, but I didn't really notice it. And then now that I'm looking for it, it's like, oh shit, he's right. He's right. So, yeah. What do I want to use this color? Is this color too dark? Sometimes this color is too dark. I mean, it's a little dark. Man. So yeah, I'm not gonna complain about the mask thing, but yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And it's like, damn. All in all, still enjoyed the movie, but after seeing everybody complain about it, and seeing the complaints and then rewatching it with the complaints in mind, and specifically with the complaints in mind, it wasn't like I was rewatching it to enjoy it for the first time again, you know. But I set myself up for it because sometimes, it really doesn't mean much to me after that. But this time, I guess it did, and yeah. Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. Oh shit, Liu Kang got his shirt off. Oh, you know what? What if I just use this color? Because it is kind of dark. For the shade area. So, so yeah, I just enjoyed the movie because I enjoyed the characters. Kano was hilarious. Liu Kang was perfect for being the awkward ninja dude or awkward kung fu guy. Kung Lao was the shit, just because he was the perfect bridge between being a human being and being a kung fu guy. You know, Kung Lao was arguably the most believable character in the movie. Kano, hilarious. Sonya, hot. And, you know, Jax is cool. I love Jax's voice. Whoever that actor is, like, his voice has, like, carry to it, where it, like, reverberates no matter where he's speaking. I don't know if they did, like, audio fix up on him or anything like that. Like, I don't know if they edited his voice in any way, but when he talks, there's like a there's like a surround sound to it. That's just like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like Jax, you know, he gets his arm, he looks badass, but we seen it in the trailer, so it wasn't like a surprise to see it. Ultimately, I think the trailers uh, would have been the thing to diminish this movie, but you know, I've trained myself as somebody who enjoys spoilers and as somebody who is used to going out of his way to go and learn more about something and learn behind the scenes because I always watch all the Blu-ray special features. Like I watched all the special features that are on HBO Max regarding Mortal Kombat. Like I always watch all that stuff. So when I started watching these YouTube channels and they kind of go in and they break down and they throw theories out there and they do all that stuff, like I'm into that too. It's just on the front end. And then, you know, all the special features that I've watched my entire life, they're all on the back end, like after I watch the movie. Because I'll watch, you know, growing up, you'll watch a movie in theaters and then you'll buy the DVD and then you'll watch it, you know, with your family on DVD or something. And then whenever I had my own time, I would watch the special features. So it's like on the back end that I would see them. But after I like kind of became my own man and whatever, I would buy DVDs, Blu-rays, and you know I would watch a movie in theaters maybe. Most of the time, I would watch a movie in theaters, so I'd already seen it. But by the time it gets released on the DVD, and then I actually had the money to go purchase it, um, I would immediately watch the special features because I've already seen the movie. Oh, it's the dinner scene. But I can't put it on because YouTube will cut it off. Um, oh yeah, I gotta go grab that other coffee, right? So yeah, I would always watch special features. So as somebody who watches the spoilers and everything like that, it's only because I like the ideas. After I became a writer and started thinking about like learning about what intellectual property is and learning like like why Marvel and DC can have characters that are alike but not alike. and where does the law begin and where does the law end and all that other stuff regarding those things. I mean, after all that, um, anyway. Yeah, so as somebody who watches all that stuff, watching trailers to movies and all that, like it doesn't bother me. Again, my first watch through on the movie, I fucking loved it. It wasn't until I listened to everybody and started looking for the mistakes that other people saw that I didn't see, that I knew that they were talking about or recognized what they were talking about and recognized how they could be seen as, um, mistakes or not good or like, don't do that type shit. It's like, all right, I get it. But stuff like that usually doesn't ruin it for me, you know? So to have had it, um, damn, what was my point in saying all that stuff? That I watch all the special features and da 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 da. Yeah, I don't know. I forget what the point was that I was making when I said that. Let me go make this last bit of coffee. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, yeah, I guess that's why I can enjoy stuff. And but I will admit when a trailer reveals all the best parts of a movie, it is disappointing, but it still doesn't get me out of it. Still doesn't take me out of the movie or prevent me from enjoying it or anything like that. But one of the things that first things that Max said was like, you know, oh, the trailers basically showed all the best parts, and I was like, God damn it, he's right. You know, there was just a few things that we didn't get to see or hear that were better, like Kano's performance. Uh, we didn't get much Liu Kang in the trailers. We didn't get uh Cabal's accent or just his character. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, that was another thing I wanted to mention. When I was talking about Shang Tsung's character and the actor who played him, and I knew that Shang Tsung wouldn't be doing any action. Um, it's only because of the actor who was playing him, but it was kind of cool because it's like I know Shang Tsung is more of a what do they call him in the games? He's more of a magician or mage or what do they call him? Uh, sorcerer. So because he's a sorcerer, I guess it would make sense to like cast somebody who doesn't really need to do all that kung fu stuff. So it's like okay, I can live with that. Even though I did like the classic Shang Tsung from the '90s movie that we all know. Like I think we could all agree that having somebody who can throw a punch and a kick and can take his shirt off and look like he could still do something is always going to be a little bit more impressive than someone who can't. So when I saw the casting, it was like okay, I knew to lower my lower my standard for Shang Tsung and what to expect from him. You know. And this is what I mean. The first movie that did it for me, that I started to become aware of that, I think I was in college. There was this movie called Ninja Assassin. And, it was a badass movie where, you watch the trailer, you have this guy, he's fighting all these ninjas, and the movie's called Ninja Assassin. So you're like, all right, people is gonna die, and there's ninjas. I mean, it's basically Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? Ninja Assassin, Mortal Kombat. Ninjas are the best part, and people is gonna die. Like, that's all I really needed to know about the movie. And then you find out, you go to watch the movie, and you know that the main character is a kung fu guy because that's how the movie was marketed, and they show him doing like kung fu stuff. So it's like, okay, I know that the main character is gonna do it. But then you meet who the bad guy is, and you know who they cast for the bad guy of that role? They casted that one sexy motherfucker from the first Fast and the Furious movie, who was like one of like Johnny Tran or something like that. He was the Asian bad guy in the first Fast and Furious movie. He was the one who like Toretto fought at the race event where he goes, someone ratted me out, and you know what? It was you. And then Toretto turns around and like starts beating him up, and he's like, I never knocked on no one. I never knocked on nobody. I never like he lost his mind and started doing that. Um, that Asian guy, when I saw that he was cast for the Ninja Assassin movie, I was like, okay, cool, because I know him from Fast and Furious. Let's see what this guy can do because he's in a ninja movie where we're all throwing punches and kicks and swinging swords and flips and all this other shit. And I was like, I guess he could do it. I didn't know that he couldn't. But then I watched the movie and I watched for him because obviously I don't need to watch for the main character. He's doing everything that I'm expecting him to, that the commercial showed him doing. He's doing all the flips and tricks. But every time the bad guy showed up, every time the Fast and Furious dude showed up, he never did anything. He showed up, he kind of perched himself on a ledge and was just like, "Get him!" to all his little ninja minions. And then he would, it was like a chase movie where, the bad guy was, or the good guy's running for his life and the bad guy's chasing him. And you're like, oh shit, when the bad guy catches him, shit's about to go down. And then every time he, like, throughout the movie would catch up to him, he would just be like, "Get him." And he never did anything. He never flipped, he never tricked, he never did nothing. And it's like, all right. And that is what it is. But it was after I watched that movie that I started to like pay attention to the casting of movies, because it was like, okay, now we can expect actors to not necessarily be able to fulfill the role that they're given. And the guy who's playing Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat is the dude who played the accountant in the Chinese accountant in the Dark Knight movie, the famous Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Batman with the Joker, Heath Ledger Joker. The Asian accountant who's like, he goes, I take the money to China, far out of the Gotham PD jurisdiction. That guy, that Batman goes to China and finds his ass and delivers him to the GCPD like the next day. Like, he's playing Shang Tsung. And I'm like, okay, I'm not expecting this guy to do any flips and tricks. But I guess he is playing a sorcerer, so I guess he will kinda. I guess he will kind of do something. And yeah, he got to suck out Kung Lao's soul, and it was just like, all right. I mean, it was badass, like the effects to put that all together. And, that just sucked because it was Kung Lao, the best guy, best boy, getting his soul sucked out. He's the guy who could do all the tricks and flips, and getting his soul sucked out by the guy who can't do none of that. It's like, oh man. So I even be thinking about that stuff when I go into watching a movie, but I still enjoy it. And here I am. I mean, the movie can't be all that bad if I'm putting it on for the fourth time in the back, watching it twice in a row today now. Well, no, this would be the third time today in a row because I played it before I started the stream, and then I started the stream and I played it. Now this is the second time since. So yeah. So clearly the movie can't be all that bad. You know what I mean? But yeah, I may not. I don't know if and when I'll be watching it again. If I'm, maybe for like a good time with friends or something like that to put it on, or people who haven't seen it, I could tell them, no, it's a good movie, and then put it on for them and then let them decide. Because yeah, I usually always enjoy movies. Ask anyone who knows me. I'll always talk about it. I like Kong vs. Godzilla when I got on here. I like the Justice League when I got on here to talk about it. Um, my brother was telling me yesterday at the birthday party, he goes, the Mugen Train movie is out in theaters, so he wants to go to the theater to watch it. So I showed him movie times today. He goes, maybe not today, but let's try tomorrow. So we'll see. Maybe tomorrow I may watch Mugen Train with him. And yeah. And then, if I see that, I'll definitely be spoiling that one too. Just bums me out that people, if a movie's not like 100% perfect, it's like a bad movie. And it's like, nah, man, there's like gray. You gotta have some gray layers, you know? See, look, I'm watching the Goro fight scene again. Goro just whooping his ass. It's like Goro's just not smart enough to see that his suit is charging up. So Goro doesn't know, okay, maybe I stop hitting him in the suit. There we go. Finally done drinking coffee. Now I can just draw. And I'm done with the review or talking about it. I don't even know if that counts as a review. I mean, I just sat there and rambled for longer than what the movie is. That's ridiculous. I still think that's a funny joke that Cole's power, he gets like a suit of armor, and then Steve called it, he gets plot armor. It's so on the nose. Oh shit, Kung Lao about to get his soul sucked out. Alright, let me pause this. Jesus Christ, now my app wants to act up as I'm trying to pause. Here, I've been watching this for like 3 hours. Pause. There we go. Oh damn! Now I gotta rewind it so I can watch the whole getting the soul sucked out scene. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. Um, it's 3 hours. I finished rendering the pencil, started laying down some of the flat colors. So hopefully the beach scene with the sand, and then the tall grass in the background, and then the or just the field of grass in the background, and then the sunny sky contrasting with this dude's like iciness. Uh, Hopefully it's all starting to come together. I'm going to continue to work on it, but that's going to be the end of this one. It's 3 hours. I just rambled on about the Mortal Kombat movie for 3 hours. Love it or hate it. And yeah, that's going to be it for this one, man. I'm G Mr. Drew. That is at G Mr. Drew on all social media. You can follow, like, and subscribe. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. If you want to hire me, if you're into this style that I work in, if you like the art and everything that I'm putting together. I know this is only a work in progress right now, so it's not finished. But you can imagine it being rendered out, something super dope like that, but just like way bigger, way more rendered out and things. Then yeah, you can hit me up. I'm G Mr. Drew on Patreon. You can get commissions from me that way. Choose a tier and you get that. Or on Fiverr, you can find me G Mr. Drew on Fiverr, and you can hire me to do some commissions for you on there. And if anything, check out my website, gmrdrew.art. Everything I've ever done, it will be there. And if you want to contact me or find any links to anywhere and everywhere, I'm on there. I got merch stores and everything like that. You want to get grab a t-shirt, that'd be cool. And then yeah, that's gonna be it for this Andrew Glowczewski Experience, episode 122, character concept art, while I sit there and go ham on the Mortal Kombat movie. Last words on it, I loved it. Go watch it. Love y'all.